My name is Chris Hauser. I am starting my 39th year of the job of radio promotion. And radio promotion entails calling radio stations and being in relationship to radio stations and representing the records that I'm being paid for. And there are about 20 to 25 of us in the CCM business. I call myself the Geico insurance man of radio promotion. I save people thousands of dollars every month in their bank accounts because I have a piece that people write to me. They find me on the internet. A couple of radio stations actually have my name and email out there. So if you want someone to help you get your song on the radio, here's a person to reach out to. So those are the people. I send them about a 8 to 10 paragraph piece that I've written. It's a primer on how this all works. And I tell them, there's 20 to 25 of us promoters, and we're pushing it on radio stations with 50 songs every week. And at the end of that week, that radio station will pick one song. And the 49 leftover songs roll to the next week, and it starts all over again. Oh, but wait, there's more songs that come in the next week. So maybe now it's 54 songs they need to be thinking about. And most independent artists who see that from me, that email, they run from the room screaming with their hair on fire. They don't even write me back to say thank you for the clarity. They're just gone. But some people will press in and say, I feel like God's really moved me. I've got the money. I've got it budgeted, and you don't scare me with this. And I need you to listen to my album. And I'll say, now send me $1,000, and I will listen to your record, and I will give you feedback on all the songs and tell you if there's anything competitive there. And then even some people will go $1,000? What? That's ridiculous. Well, if you can't handle that, then you're not going to handle a campaign worth $20,000 to $40,000 down the road if it's a hit, right? So it also clears out some more people. And so I've got a certain bandwidth that I can handle a certain number of songs that I can talk about comfortably. I'm only as good as the records that I'm talking about and the artists that I'm representing. I'm only that good. And so I have to constantly be mindful. And I have known promoters who get in dire straits, something happens, and they'll take on a couple of bad records, and the people on the other end of the phone at radio stations go they lose confidence. I always do my best to try to be very, very careful to have songs that I truly believe in from artists that I want to promote and that I want to be identified with. I say no to records all the time. I say no to 5 to 7 jobs a week. If I see somebody coming and wanting to hire me, I have learned enough to say that person's going to be too high maintenance. I'm never going to be able to make them happy. I'm going to wear myself out, and it's not ever going to be enough. So I will let a younger promoter go cut their teeth on that experience and have the experience that I had in the late 90s and the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. So I tell people I make a great living talking to my friends all day long about music I love. And so what it entails is all of the phone calls. So all of this is phone call work. And I'm old school enough that I love the phone, and I have loved the phone my entire life. And there is nothing quite like an actual personal touch of calling a person. And so I call radio stations Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm setting up my calls on Monday. I've got label Zooms and meetings. I've got wrap-up meetings sometimes on Fridays. But I sit in my office and I call radio stations all day long, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Very little gets in the way of that. If you've tried to get a hold of me, you've tried to set up a meeting, you can't touch Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because I've got appointments. And these radio stations have certain time periods that they will accept a phone call from a promoter. So if 20 people are trying to get through to them in an hour, 4 people might get in. So it's kind of the luck of the draw. And so then I'm talking to them about the songs that are on my list. They know that I'm calling, and they know what we're going to be talking about. And I'm spending this first part of any phone call while I'm checking up on them. So I'm taking copious notes on our call from 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was 3 weeks ago, maybe it was last week, and there was something big that was going on. I'm taking notes, and then those are the first things I'm asking about. How did that surgery go? Did your kid get through graduation okay? And it's just decades and decades of that kind of care, of just loving people and being a friend, right? And then we're proceeding on to the songs, and then I'm thanking them for all the songs that they're playing on my list. So I'm going down the list. You're a genius. You're brilliant. Thank you. It's in light rotation. Do you think it might get up to medium rotation in the next couple of weeks? Do you have any research numbers on it? We can get into that later. So I'm getting notes, making sure that there's clarity on those songs. And then the last 40% of my list typically are songs they're not playing. So then we're digging in on those songs, and I'm talking to them about, well, this station just came on board, and I know that you respect them. So there's about 90 stations that I'm responsible for. I'm calling one person for K-Love, and I'm calling one person for Coos Bay, Oregon. And I'm calling one person for Bowling Green, Kentucky. So we have 30 million people who listen to terrestrial Christian radio every week. Over 30 million people. We didn't have that in the 80s. We didn't have it in the 90s. The highest percentage are people who listen to K-Love and Air One. But it's still very, very viable in my mind. And I know I'm the old guy yelling at the kids, get off my lawn. I know that I'm old school like that. The first time I sat in a room of other industry people and someone stood up, a really smart person stood up and said, if Christian radio does not change its ways, in the next 5 years, we won't even have a format. We'll be dead. And that was April 1987. Christian radio's changed its ways a couple times over here and there, but not drastically. And we're anything but dead right now.